In this video, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek in how we started the GetSocialSmart Academy. Hey everybody, Katie Lance here, founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting, the GetSocialSmart Academy, and author of the book, Get Social Smart. It's episode 295, and this month we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary in business. And so this month we're taking you through the Wayback Machine and giving you a little sneak peek behind the scenes into our business, some lessons learned, and hopefully a few things that you can take away and implement into your business. So in our last video, we gave you kind of the backstory of how we started our business 10 years ago. If you missed that, we're going to link that below so you can check that out. But I thought I would talk a little bit about our GetSocialSmart Academy. So I know I've been connected to many of you over the years, maybe through YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or now TikTok or various social media platforms. And we put out a ton of content. You know, there was no shortage of content coming through. But one of the things we realized many years ago is that when you go to Google and you Google social media for real estate, well, there's like millions, probably billions of things that pop up. And oftentimes they sometimes are inaccurate or not up to date, or sometimes they have nothing to do with real estate. And what I found over the years, I would speak at events all over the world, and I have agents and brokers come up to me and they'd be like, how can I work with you? Do you have coaching? You know, they'd have questions. And I thought, you know what? I think there's a real opportunity here to have a place for agents and brokers to connect with each other and also learn. So the early days of the Academy, you're gonna like this story. And by the way, at the end of this video, stay tuned all the way to the end because I have some lessons learned that I think are gonna help all of you. So make sure you stay all the way to the end. So the beginning of the GetSocialSmart Academy actually started probably about 2016. I remember at the time thinking, at the time I was doing a ton of consulting, which we talked about in our last video. I was doing a ton of corporate and franchise consulting. I was doing a lot of speaking, but I wasn't really able to work directly with agents and brokers. I just didn't have that bandwidth. And so I thought to myself, you know, I really crave that sort of small group, environment. And so I created a 6-week social media course. And, you know, I didn't have really the technology, I guess, to support it. We didn't have a fancy website. In fact, we had a website at that point, but really didn't have like sort of a quote unquote like membership site, which we now have, which I'll get to in just a minute. And so, but you know what? I knew how to run training. I knew that we had something really powerful to present. So I started a 6-week course, and I reached out privately to a ton of people who would reach out to me who said, hey, if you ever do any kind of like small group training or coaching or anything, please let me know. So I did a lot of kind of guerrilla marketing and reached out to a ton of people one-to-one, and he said, hey, listen, I'm doing a small group. It's going to be online. We're limiting it to about 10 or 15 people. It's kind of a high-end ticket. You know, it was around $1,500, $2,000. So not for everybody, but you know, for people who really wanted kind of that in-depth training. And it was a huge success. It was so much fun. I ended up running that 6-week course a number of times, a few times a year between 2016, 2017. We may have even started it in 2015 a little bit. And I always kind of smile when I tell the story to people because I think a lot of times when we think about courses or memberships, we think we got to have everything in place, right? Well, let me just tell you, everything was not in place. This is what we had to run our 6-week course. I was using GoToWebinar at the time. We would put all of our recordings in Dropbox, and then we would send the people who went through the course Dropbox links through MailChimp. So basically I was using GoToWebinar, MailChimp, and Dropbox as a way to communicate with everyone, and email. And guess what? It worked, right? It worked. And I said this in my last video, like if you wait till everything is perfect in your business, you're probably never going to start. So we did this 6-week course for a number of, many times. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, this is really satisfying. I love that I'm able to scale helping agents and brokers, but you know, I feel like there's something else. I feel like there is another opportunity out there. And I will never forget, this is back in the day when Periscope was a big thing, and some of you might remember this. I was like super excited about Periscope, which was kind of the precursor before Facebook Live. And on Periscope, I met Kim Garst, who's an amazing social media strategist. And I remember going to one of the Periscope summits, and she was talking about, you know, the value of membership sites, the value of being able to scale. And what I thought was really incredible about that was how her and other folks that I have really followed and admired over the years have been able to serve not just handfuls of people, but hundreds and thousands of people when you create a course or membership that really brings value. You know, I think sometimes in the world of courses or memberships, there's some out there that aren't so great, right? Just like any industry, there's you have to do your due diligence. For those of you in real estate, you know this. Not all realtors are the same. Not all real estate agents are realtors, as we all know. So it's the same thing in sort of the world of content marketing, courses, memberships, things like that. And so, from there, I thought, gosh, is there an opportunity to create some sort of membership site? And in conjunction with that, I was in the process of writing my book. In fact, my book came out in 2017, which is crazy. I feel like it just came out yesterday. It's probably time for a revamp on that. Maybe that'll be my next video next year. But my book was coming out, and I also remember thinking, I'm writing a book about social media, and as soon as this book hits the shelves, like some of it's going to be out of date, right? Social media changes all the time. That being said, I try to always teach timeless principles with social media. Things like showing up, being authentic, putting out valuable content, get yourself into a system, right? You know this if you followed me for any period of time. So I remember talking to our editor at the time, and she also suggested, have a site where once people read your book, if they would like additional learning, they can go join a membership site. So I had a few people kind of, putting a few bugs in my ear about this idea of kind of a membership site. And I remember getting together with my small team at the time and was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's create the GetSocialSmart Academy. And so very quickly, the 6-week course morphed into the GetSocialSmart Academy. I reached out to a friend of mine who is a website developer and kind of shared our thoughts with her, and she helped create the first version of our site. And, it makes me smile thinking back just on that time. That the vision of that site was to be a little bit like a Netflix, right? We all know and love Netflix, right? I'm assuming, right? You go on, you binge watch as much as possible. And that was one of the biggest benefits to the Academy, was to have a ton of training in there. So when you would log in, you would see tons of information on Facebook and Instagram and all the different platforms. And the idea was people could binge watch it as much as possible. So here's where we have learned a lot of lessons. What we've learned over the years is as great as it is to have all that content, all that training available anywhere, anytime, any place, and it's still valuable, people also love live events. They love to show up live, whether it's a live Zoom or a Facebook Live. They love to get their questions answered in real time. What we've also discovered is less is more. I've learned early on that as an agent, you don't need 50 videos on how to learn how to use Facebook. You need a couple, right? I've also learned that you don't necessarily need to know everything. I really think as an agent or broker, you don't need to know every single bell and whistle, every single update. I think you need to know the most important things. And so over time, our Academy grew and evolved. And as of this year, in February 2022, we relaunched our site. And I have to say, I'm so excited. It's like, birthing another child, or something we're really, really excited about. And our Academy has evolved. So if you're watching this and wondering exactly what it's all about, in short, our Academy is a membership site. You can sign up monthly or yearly. And as a member, you get access to a number of things. I mentioned earlier, people love live events. So you get access to, every single week, I do something called Coffee with Katie. This is something it just kind of started just out of the blue, and I realized how much people loved it. I do it every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's an hour every single week that I dedicate to our Academy, and every month we have a theme. So one month it might be about Instagram, one month it might be about Facebook, one month it might be about Canva. And in that Coffee with Katie time, it allows me to go deep, to do some group coaching, some training, answer questions in real time, and it's awesome. It's one of my favorite parts of the week. We have a lot of our Academy members who say, every week I've got it on my calendar, Katie, I don't miss it. And we always record those as well. We've also learned that in-depth classes are really helpful too. So we started doing monthly masterclasses. I do a monthly 90-minute deep dive masterclass, which is really geared for people who are a little bit more intermediate or advanced. There is a live video portion of it. There's a workbook, because we all love a good workbook, right? You gotta take notes. And so those live events have been such a huge part of our Academy. So when you're a member, you get access to our weekly Coffee with Katie, our monthly master classes, and then you get access to our entire training library. And so we still have a number of trainings on demand, right? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Canva, all the different social media platforms. And again, less is more. We really honed in, on our content, which I think is key. Also, as a member, we found that people love a community. And so we started a private Facebook group many years ago for our Academy. It's one of the best best things that we've ever done. I often say that people join our academy for the training and maybe to kind of pick my brain, but they stay long-term for the community. It's so awesome. And I have to give our academy members, I wish I could give all of our academy members a shout out right here, but you know, we don't have 6 hours for a video, but they are so awesome. And I hope that a lot of them are watching this right now. I absolutely love our academy family. It's so awesome to see folks grow and push themselves outside of their comfort zone. You know, getting on video for the first time or the 10th time is scary. Trying something new like TikTok or Instagram Reels is scary, right? And when we push ourselves outside of our comfort zone and try something we've never done before, and then we start to get results, it is the most gratifying feeling. So I absolutely love that. So, you know, our academy family, our community is one of my favorite parts, hands down. So I will say, for those of you who aren't part of our academy, and if you've gotten any value from me over the years, go to katielance.com/academy to check it out. Now, don't leave the video yet because I've got some lessons learned, but I wanted to share that link in case you're wondering, wait, where do I go? That's where you go. All right, let's get into some lessons learned. Ready? Let's go. Lesson number 1, less is more. I think this is really powerful. And when I think about this, I think about a lot of the agents and brokers that we work with. And I know probably a lot of you are real estate agents and brokers. And so less is more in terms of what we are teaching. Sometimes when we teach something or we share something, we want to share everything we know. And then what happens is the person on the other end is like, whoa, that's a lot. And so as an agent, you know a ton, right? Especially if you've been in business a long time, you know so much about your community, so much about buying and selling real estate. So remember, less is more. We don't necessarily need to give everybody everything that we know all at once. And part of that, I think, is sort of reading the room or reading the situation and being able to adjust based on who you're talking to. But less is more. Lesson number 2, underpromise and overdeliver. Underpromise, overdeliver. I think this is really key. And I think sometimes when we go into business for ourselves, whether you are a realtor, whether you run your own company, whether you're an entrepreneur, it's really easy to say, yes, I could do that. Yes, I could do that. Yes, you're going to get this. Yes, you're going to get this. But underpromise and overdeliver. And this is something that I think we've gotten better and better at over the course of time. You know, I find that a lot of folks in our academy will say this time and time again. And a big part of this for us has been really getting systemized. You know, any great business over the course of time, if you want to grow, if you want to sustain, you have to have systems in place and the right folks on your team to be able to support those systems. So getting systems is key, under-promising, over-delivering, and having that clear communication and clear expectations of what to expect when is huge. And I know as agents and brokers, you get this. You know, when you're working with a client, having those clear timelines, you know, really explaining what people can expect and when, it's huge. It really makes people feel welcome. It makes people feel at ease, right? Versus a little bit nervous about what do I do? What's next, right? So that's super important. Okay, lesson number 3, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but I saved the best for last. I know that oftentimes when it comes to starting something, going outside your comfort zone, we often think, you know, I'm going to wait till I have all my ducks in a row. I'm going to wait till next week or next month. And so my third lesson here is done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. You know, I shared this in our last video. I talked about how we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary in business. That first year and a half, we didn't even have a website, right? I think about the story I just shared with our academy. If I would have waited until I had like the fancy website, you know, and the budget to afford creating the portal that I wanted to create with the website that we have now, I mean, we would have lost not only revenue, but we would have lost so much momentum. And I think that's really something that is important to think about. When I say done is better than perfect, it doesn't mean you don't care about the end result. It doesn't mean you're like, oh, whatever, I'll just do it. It means that you understand the value in moving forward, right? And sometimes we just have to take one step and then another step and then another step to get the ball rolling, right? It's like a snowball. You've got to get it rolling to make things happen. So just keep that in mind. Done is better than perfect. All right, as we get to the end here today, like I said, this month is a really special month. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. We're taking you behind the scenes. And so if you enjoy this content, I know it's a little bit different. We're doing a little story time this month. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell button. We have new videos that come out each and every month. And you know, other times of the year when it's not our anniversary, we're always sharing tips, tools, and strategies to help you get smarter about social media, especially if you're in real estate. Now, if you've listened to this wondering, okay, I want to get involved in that academy, we would absolutely love to have you join us. Go to katielance.com getSocialSmart.com/academy. You can get signed up monthly or yearly. There's no contracts, and check it out. We would absolutely love to have you join our Academy family. All right, my friends, thank you so much. Cheers to the last 10 years and cheers to the future. We can't wait to have you along for the ride. Bye for now.